It's Uvalde Radio. Robert Miguel here with you. Excited about our next guest, man. I'm so stoked. Big show coming up Friday night. House Pasture Cattle Company in beautiful Concan, Texas. We're excited to have him back in our neck of the woods. With me on the phone, Mr. Cory Morrow. Hey, how you doing, Cory?
How you doing, man?
I'm great. It's cool to hear your voice now. You're checking in from the beach, is that right?
Yeah, man. My wife and our family decided they wanted to a break from the seclusion of their own home, so we came down to Galveston for the week.
And how is it out there right now?
It's very Galveston-y.
Okay. So who you got with you? Now, how big is the family these days? If I don't mind, if you don't mind getting personal.
Yeah. We have 5 kids.
Yeah.
We've got 9-year-old, 7-year-old, twins that are 5, and a 3-year-old. And they're all boys except for the little girl. She's the only one is a 3-year-old little girl. So we got 4 boys and a girl.
So what is that like traveling, road trips? I mean, is it like, Griswold family, or they're kind of younger, but there's got to be a certain amount of chaos.
Oh yeah. There's definitely, mostly it's dealing with like the different bathroom schedules.
Right.
Everybody going to the bathroom? Yes. And then 30 minutes later, Mom, I got to go to the bathroom. It's like, seriously? And you got to pull over. Our 2.5-hour trip from Austin to Houston takes us 4 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
Stop many times, So it's just what it is. You just kind of factor it in and make the most of it, and have games that they can play. And we try not to watch TV while we're traveling if we can help it. We try to do like things that we used to do when we were kids, which is talking and playing games and using our minds and stuff. So try to leave the TV as like a backup for if I've got to be on the phone for a meeting, or if she and I have to talk about something serious or whatever, and we need them to be distracted, we use the TV for distraction. So, but yeah, chaos is a good word, but it's so much fun, man. I feel so blessed to have that many kids that are healthy, and my wife and I still love each other, and that's just an anomaly in and of itself, and I feel blessed for that too. So we're just grateful.
Well, one more related question, because I know that when I was growing up, one of the biggest, one of the hottest topics in the car with the family, and I had 2 siblings and 2 parents, and this is not just on the road trips, but just kind of tooling around town in general, deciding where to eat out. 3 kids going McDonald's or, Long John Silver's or whatever. A couple of parents maybe wanting a respectable meal. What is that like? Do they all get a say, or is it just we decide and that's it?
We sacrifice. My wife and I always sacrifice to make, to get them what they need. And we figure Chick-fil-A is always popular, and Chick-fil-A has some options that are good for us that we enjoy as parents. So that if we can find that, that's what we go with first. The kids seem to like Chili's.
Oh, okay.
So that's okay, But gosh, man, we do. I'm trying to think. It's been 3 months since we've been able to eat out.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, no, eating out's not too bad. But typically, we will let them kind of get together and decide what they want, and then we try to find some sort of a balance. If it's they don't like McDonald's or any goofy places like that. They're not big on the fast food stuff, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad, man. My wife has done a really amazing job raising them and working with them and giving them good godly-based principles and foundation, and teaching them about the truth and the word and the light,
Well, very good, man. Well, again, let's get into the music, because we're totally stoked about you Friday night coming back to town. Now, let's go ahead and start off with this, because like we mentioned, the world's been pretty much under quarantine. What have you guys been doing? Have you been soaking up the family time, doing the honeydews, writing music? I mean, what is Cory Morrow doing the last couple of months?
You just did it right there, man. You've been reading my mail. That's it. I've been honeydew lists, working on projects around the house, and we started off. First few weeks or first month or so was just nothing but music, man. Me and the kids were in the music room every day, all day. They were, they've taught themselves. They found an app called Simply Piano, and it's like $110 a year, so $10 a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
And every single one of them gets a place on the app. So it's as many people as you want in your family can learn for that $10 a month, and it teaches you. Full-on teaches you piano. So my 2 older kids have begun learning piano, been taking lessons now on that app for 2 or 3 months, and they've gotten to be where they can play songs, they can read sheet music, they know what the notes are. It's like completely insane. And I've been writing songs and working on my guitaring and just playing a whole lot, man. I've been loving it, doing lots of Facebook stuff, and Morrow Mondays we've been doing every week, and so a lot of that. And yeah, the house is looking better, the yard's looking better because projects are getting done, and the cars are faster because I've had time to mess with them. They work better, but yeah, man, we're trying to spend time loving on each other and soaking each other up. We just feel like with everything that happens in life that goes a direction that you don't want it to go, we feel like if our hearts are with God, then that must mean this is part of His plan. So we try to take it in stride and figure out where we're supposed to learn and where we're supposed to be tested and how we can make the most out of it and serve each other and serve others, you know.
Well, and that's a really great, and I love that, hearing that you're a man of faith, because I think that when you know you've got God on your side, it's just a lot easier to kind of let all the drama that's in the media, in society, kind of just roll off your back, you know, because you got that peace. And I think that's something that's missing, or at least not represented enough in the media. So it's really great to hear you say that out loud. Now, you mentioned the Morrow Mondays. I had the pleasure of seeing a couple of your Facebook Live shows. What were those like? And had you been doing those before, or is that something you kind of had to ramp up into, with the whole COVID thing?
Yeah, we did ramp it up because of COVID. We had done it before in the past, and all things kind of take their course, and as you see numbers drop a little bit, we just kind of decided that we need to take a break from it because I tend to go overboard, and I'll end up giving like 3 or 4 hour concerts every week, and it's really awesome in the first time or two. After a while, it's like, oh, I've seen Cory play every single song he knows. I don't need to go back and see it again. So we kind of take a break and ramp it back down and try to find something else to do on Mondays. But I think what's fun is letting people into our home a little bit.
Yeah.
And they see all going crazy and having pillow fights and throwing themselves into the fire and just hitting each other with sticks. And they can see the chaos that exists in everybody's home, not just their own, that they can relate that we all are wearing the same pants, and that's been the fun part about it for me, is that seeing people react and respond to the things that our family's doing and saying that reminds them of their family. And to me, the greatest thing about what I get to do for a living is that I get to share life with strangers and then make them not strangers, and then be able to just reach out and I don't know, give myself to openly and unabashedly to strangers that are fans, and then they kind of break down their walls, and all of a sudden we realize that we're not that different, and that we share a lot of the same views and fears and hopes. And I get out to the merch table. That's like my favorite place to be every night, is after the show, to go to the merch table and get eye to eye with people. And sometimes we pray with them, sometimes they pray over me, and we just talk and share and open up, man, and get to kind of share the word and go through life together, man. I just feel like that's what it's all about, and I get paid to go out and do that, and that's just crazy.
Well, I think that those Facebook Live shows were fantastic, and I think you're right that eventually every artist on the planet was doing them, so I think we got a little oversaturated. But I did see a couple of them, and I'm telling you what, as much as I love your music, I think some of the stuff that resonated the most with me personally was seeing you in a family setting, seeing the kids running around, seeing you make a reference, a couple of a little embarrassing things, but kind of seeing, I guess, you, Cory Morrow, unfiltered, and your lyrics tend to be very intimate, and it's just really kind of cool to see that setting, and when we're used to seeing you on a larger stage with more of a production behind you, the intimacy of it all, really, I think those lyrics, I think they really highlights, the intimate performance highlights those lyrics when you see that, and your face, a close-up, of you singing, and how much they actually still mean to you. It's fantastic stuff, man, so thanks for doing those.
Thank you for saying all that, man. That means a lot. I feel like one of the things that used to be so important to me is for me to be famous and to be known when I walk into a room. And what's happened as I've grown in my faith and my walk with Jesus, I feel like what He's doing to me is He's humbling me and making me realize that what I want is to be famous, so that when people say, "Look at him," I can point up and say, "Look at him," and give opportunity to share that truth that's changed the inner workings of my soul and my heart. And I think it's a really, I think it's a really great opportunity. Like, I want people to know my name so that I can tell them about the name that really matters. And I think it's just it's great. Thank you for sharing that about the words, man. That means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, we are excited about the live show. We got to talk about this because I'm interested to know, is the band greased up? Are you guys ready to go? Have you done a few shows since the kind of world's been opening up? Or are you guys going to have to, knock the rust off? How is a live show? What can we expect there?
We just we knocked the rust off last weekend.
Okay.
We played in Austin, and it was awesome. It was a total blast. We began 3 months ago a tour called The Way Things Used to Be, and the idea behind that was I've been doing this for almost 25 years, and in the first 10 years of making records, most of the music I wrote and made was along the country vein, and so I wore a cowboy hat, and we played 2/7 music, and there's a lot of the stuff that a lot of the fans have been really kind to saying that that's the stuff that they remember from college and that they kind of grew up on, and or kind of grew into the Texas music scene with, and we stopped playing it over the last 10 years, some of it, and people have been asking for it, and I didn't feel like it fit the new show and the way that things go now, and so we just kind of started asking people what they wanted to hear, and they gave us a song list, and it was mainly the old stuff. It was country music, like 2/7 music, like stuff you would hear when you go to the dance across, and so we decided to just kind of take a look at what that would be like, and we put together a set list that is mainly the older stuff. We still have some of the songs I hope that people would want to hear that's newer, but it's like 80% stuff that we did in the first 4 albums, and so called The Way Things Used to Be. It kind of mirrors some of the shows we did back then, some of the set lists we did back then, and the response has been really positive. People seem to really enjoy the fact that we're playing outside of our comfort zone, and so as far as knocking the rust off, we did that last week. We're going to be a 4-piece this week because our piano players are one of them's sick and the other one is in another state and can't get out, and so we're taking it on the road as a 4-piece. So John Carroll plays the guitar so good it sounds like 3 instruments anyway. So I don't think anybody's going to know the difference. But we should have a lot of fun. They should be able to dance and stay up front and cheer if you want to stay up front and cheer and sing. And my goal being up on stage is to get people's spirits up for a little while, make them forget about the troubles and the worries, and remind them about the things that matter, and that love is the most important thing of all. So I just try to lift them up with that.
Well, I think that tour name, The Way Things Used to Be, also is going to have that kind of a cool dual meaning in a sense that, for the last few months, we haven't been able to enjoy each other's company and live music, in this kind of setting. So, now we're going to be able to enjoy it the way it used to be when the world was, open. And I think we're all going to appreciate it just a little bit more. So, it's going to be a fantastic show. Again, that is Friday night. House Pasture Cattle Company, Concan. Get your tickets now at housepasture.com, or I'm sure Cory's got a link over at his official website too. Man, let's go ahead and talk about the music now. You're a couple of years into your latest record, which is Whiskey and Pride, right?
That's correct.
So it'll be a couple of years old here pretty soon, I guess this summer. And you're what, 4 or 5? How many singles deep are you into this thing now?
I think 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's had some legs for sure. And the interesting about your current single, Always and Forever, which is, I know it's a fan favorite, but this is the first time you officially recorded it, a studio version, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it's been a real just kick in the pants to see it out there and people enjoying it still, and it being on the charts. That's pretty cool because it's a 20-year-old song, So what makes a guy do a song live in concert, over the years, and not ever put it on a record? How does that just kind of slip through the cracks? Well, when I first started playing music, everything slipped through the cracks. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have professional management, and we were just winging it. And I had my buddies working with me, and I think some of these guys had better business heads on their shoulders than I did, for sure. And even if they had their friends working with them, their friends were business savvy and were thinking about the big picture. I had a group of guys around me that, we were just having a good time. Mm-hmm. We weren't in it for thinking about the bigger picture. We were just in it thinking about the end of our nose. And so, like, what's right in front of our faces? Let's have fun with that. So I think we just made a bunch of decisions kind of on the fly. Like, hey, this will be fun. Let's record some songs that we've never recorded before. Let's do it live. And that was kind of cool because nobody had been really doing that before. So that was neat. But what happened was that was the version that people got used to. And so we just never got back in the studio to make an actual studio version. So we didn't know what that would sound like. When you you hear a song for the first time, that's the way that you remember it.
Right, sure.
So I think having studio versions be the first thing that you put out it can be a positive and a negative. I feel like what we've done here is like the live version was a little bit dirty and a little bit loosey-goosey, and now we've gone and taken the feel of it and gone back in and made it a little bit cleaner so that it sounds like we recorded it live in a studio. That's kind of the idea I wanted to have. So there's not a bunch of talking and noise and background and bottles clinking. It's just us playing live in a studio. So I feel like that we got that, and hopefully people are digging on it. But this record has had a lot of legs, and the way that the business goes now is people aren't necessarily making the full records that they used to make. They're trying different things, putting out a few songs at a time and putting them up for sale on iTunes. And I don't know what the future's going to look like. I sure do enjoy full records that have a story, and when you listen to the songs in order, because we put them in order for a reason. That you go on a trip with us, and it's an emotional trip, and it's a spiritual trip, and it's there's a reason that each song is in the order that it's in. And if you listen to the words, you can go through this adventure with us via the album, and that's what things were in the 60s and 50s, 60s, 70s. That's what records were all about. Is having an experience that you share with the artist.
Yeah, I sure hope that you guys continue to do LPs, because I think that, again, there's something about that. I think it kind of encapsulates a time, not only for you as an artist, but for us as a fan and listener. I don't know how many times, I hear a song from Def Leppard's Hysteria, and it shoots me right back to 1987 when I was 16, and that whole record does that for me. So, and also with your LP, man, I mean, you can get that record. I know that Whiskey and Pride is available on a vinyl record, so there's a lot of cool things that come along with doing, 10, 12 songs at a time.
That's right, and they're keepsakes too. It's something that you can have that you won't throw away, like a CD or a tape cassette or something like that. It's something you're going to hang on to, and it goes up on your wall. You pull it down, and with a record, you can do pictures and you can do stories, and you have a lot more room for content that we can tell. We can give reasons why we wrote the song and talk about the lyrics. I mean, there's just a lot more opportunity for that kind of thing that you're not going to get when you just buy it on iTunes, and you're listening to it, and that's great, and you love the song. But if you want to go a little bit deeper and find out why the guy wrote the song, what the song's all about, what the background is, and what the name of his dog was at the time. I mean, you don't want to get that deep with it, and you gotta have a place where you can put all that down. And the vinyl is, I think it's really cool that vinyl has come back to the way that it has, and LPs are making a comeback. Yeah. My intent is to continue in that vein, keep making records for people, keep telling stories, keep sharing life with them and experiences with them.
Well, you're great at it, sir. Again, we're talking to Cory Morrow. The show is Friday night, House Pasture Cattle Company in beautiful Concan, Texas. Got to ask this because it's my token question. When you guys roll through Uvalde County, you going to make it out to the Frio, do a little floating, or you get out in the water, or do you just spend some extra time out here doing anything?
I'll stay for a day. My family is going to stay in Galveston through weekend, but I will be sticking around for a day, probably play some golf and go put my feet in the river and hang out with Harper and just take it all in. I grew up there. I'd say I grew up there. I spent the summers there from age when I was about 9 years old until I was about 18 years old, probably into my 20s, actually. Every summer we'd go stay there for about 2 weeks, and we would stay over at Neil's Lodges because that was the only place that was really in existence back then.
Yeah.
And I knew Concan and I knew the Frio River back before it got popular, and it is a home away from home for me. So when you talk about listening to records and old songs, man, I have a soundtrack for me for my life when I was a kid that has lots of memories of me growing up and learning how to do things I shouldn't have learned how to do, and things that I'm glad I learned how to do all down there and on the Frio River.
Wow, very cool. Well, you mentioned the golf course. Any other places like restaurants or spots that you try to hit whenever you're out in Concan or Uvalde County?
Man, I like to go back to the restaurant there at Neil's. I think that's just sort of got a great feel to it, and it brings me back to, because that's the place where we used to eat when I was down there. And I always eat at the House Pasture because the food's great.
Yeah, it is.
Harper's, they take good care of me there. So, but yeah, just going to the different spots on the river, the little watering holes and waterfalls and rocks to jump off of and things like that. That was always good. But I love the golf course. They didn't have it when I was growing up, and so I love to play golf and I'll probably get out there and bang it around a little bit.
Well, we love it when you guys come to town and do a show for us. Well, we love it even more when you stick around, and enjoy what we have to offer in this neck of the woods too. So again, we've been talking to Cory Morrow. The show is Friday night, House Pasture Cattle Company. I know you're kind of beaching with the family, so I'm gonna let you go. But let's go ahead and get into your new song. Again, it's called Always and Forever. You want to give us a quick little background on just kind of what the song's about for those who might be hearing it for the first time?
Yeah, man. My name's Cory Morrow. This is Always and Forever. I originally wrote this for a girl, and we broke up the day that we were going to go record it. So I decided I was going to make it for my parents. So I kind of it's got a universal feel to it. So it can either be a love song to your spouse, a love song to your parents, a love song to God or from God to you. So I feel like it's for me it's just a love song.
Well, right on. Here it is, Always and Forever. This is Cory Morrow on Uvalde Radio. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother.
I need you, 'cause I love you, always and forever. And I love you, 'cause I've known you, always and forever. Well, time it flies, and time it runs by, and time will run out on us all. Your eyes fill with tears from fighting your fears, searching for who you are. And I will be here waiting, my dear, always and forever. I need you, 'cause I love you, always and forever. And I love you, 'cause I've known you, always and forever. Well, the moon and stars, that old sun stretches far, shining for all to view. Eternally bound, they light up the ground, never once being untrue. And you are for me that light